Thanks for tuning in and welcome to another episode of Late Night GM Snacks with my amazing co-host, Eth Lorian. Eth, what is good, my friend?
Well, it's been a long day. Didn't think I was going to make it on time. Metaverse traffic was a real bitch today. But I'm here. We're having coffee. It's all good.
Cool. So, you look okay. Looks like you survived the Super Bowl, as a person of Boston area. How do you feel after taking the big L?
Oh, come on. Come on. I mean, I'm doing just fine. I can't take the Pat Mahomes, sorry. I wanted the Philadelphia Eagles. As a Bostonian, I was rooting for my fellow hard case football fans down there in Philly. Instead, I had to watch Pat Mahomes, his wife, and his brother dance around on social media. I'll get over it. I will.
Hey, well done at least making it to the big show, though. So did you see any commercials that you liked?
There were some neat ones. There were some that I had literally no friggin' idea of what was going on, too. And that's always like the fun game to play. What are they trying to sell me? There was one, it was an Amazon commercial eventually, but at one point, Sage and I looked at each other and were like, did they buy the dog or did they buy the crate on Amazon? I didn't know you could buy dogs on Amazon. I remember that one.
Yeah, I remember that one too. They try to make you think they're just going to put the dog down or something at first. Like, that's not don't send me down that path. I was like, no. So I was thankful to see they just brought him a friend.
Yeah, right. Like massive Debbie Downer during the Super Bowl. You're going to put your dog down.
Hey, but shout out to the animal commercials. There were several, and I really enjoyed seeing animals.
Yeah, what was the one with Sarah McLachlan?
I think I wasn't really paying attention to that one when it came on, but I think they were just kind of making fun at her old commercials. For $1 a day, you can support a Web3 avatar. No, I think they were just kind of she was poking fun at herself, so yeah, I always appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate when people can laugh at themselves. I can't laugh at myself, though. I'm a very serious fucker.
Well, that's why we do it for you, Eth. So did you check out the NFT commercial with the QR code? Digi something, maybe it's a Digi something, I don't remember. I can't recall the name.
I think I missed that, Digikaku, right? But I didn't see the ad for it, but I absolutely saw the incredible amount of engagement that brought about on Twitter today, with people liking what the guy did or not liking what the founder did, or that his account got botted or didn't get botted. I mean, like, we must be pretty bored right now in the bear market that's what we're talking about, honestly.
Well, and the fact that itself can be so polarizing, right? Like, it's really interesting. I mean, engagement's engagement.
He put a QR code on the damn screen.
Did Coinbase? I saw Coinbase. I saw Brian Armstrong, or even it was Coinbase directly, that was tweeting about QR codes and Super Bowl commercials. I think, did they drop one as well? I missed it. If they did,
they might have.
It's funny being a championship snob from up here in the New England area. My teams aren't in the bowl. I'm not watching it as closely. You know what I'm saying? Not as invested. Might be going to the chili crock pot or the wing tray a little bit more often.
I mean, that's not a bad strategy.
Which I did.
Right?
No, I made some absolutely banging wings yesterday. Just
delicious
metaverse
wing
wings. Alpha. Are they bone in, boneless? What kind of flavors? We talking what level of hotness? What kind of sauces? Give me the rundown.
Bone in. They're buffalo. Did a nice job. Washed those bad boys up. Dry rub that thing with, it was actually Frank's Buffalo, like a dry rub, but let it sit for like 6 hours with that dry rub on. Really get tasty, get it down in the skin. And then convection bake in the oven, turning every 10 to 15 minutes for an hour. They were delicious. I'm not going to lie. Hey, did you ever see What is that movie? It had Meryl Streep in it. You know, you probably saw it. They die, they go to heaven. It's like judging
a lot of movies.
It's like judging your life or something like that.
Was it?
You ever see that with
the football player or the boxer? It's about the boxer that went to heaven.
No.
I can't remember the name of the damn movie now, and you know I'm not gonna be able to look it up like on the fly. But the gist is, when you die, you go to this like in between city where your whole life, like all the moments from your life, go up for review. And when you're in this city, like you go and you sit in a courtroom and they show like all the moments from your life. Did you live a good life or a bad life, right? And but while you're in the city, you can do things like eat 27 pies because you don't get full and you don't get fat, you don't get bloated, right? You can have 47 plates of pasta. If I had that going on in my life yesterday, I may have eaten more wings than I ate.
And I ate a good amount of wings.
That much I believe. I can see it's showing in your avatar right now.
Just a little thicker around the midsection than I should be.
But yeah, another commercial that I wanted to talk about and get your take on was the Air movie trailer, MGM Studios, I believe. Well, why don't we give it a watch first, and then we can chat about it.
Sounds good to me.
1984 has been a tough year. Our sales are down, our growth is down.
Sonny, I brought you in here to grow the basketball business.
Yeah, so what'd you think of Ben Affleck's look as Knight?
Converse.
NBA All-Star shoe.
There's nothing cool about Nike.
I like the whole vibe.
You would have to have a pretty compelling pitch.
I can tell them the one thing the other companies can't compete with. Our basketball division is terrible.
I do not love it.
We're going to learn quite a bit about the Nike story along the way,
This is when you
too.
come up with a brilliant idea that no one else can see. Let's hear it.
Was it Sonny Vaccaro? Was that character that David's playing?
I got it. I found him. Who's that? Jesus?
Yeah,
I'm willing to bet
what interests me most of this is Nike is such a global presence, but to see, like you said, its roots. You know, that Jordan signing, everybody understands how big it is now. But, oh my God!
But imagine,
how
I didn't know
was that
the in-depth about him going to the parents and kind of working that relationship personally. Like, I didn't know it was like that. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, so I'm excited to learn about the back history of all this.
That's the literal definition of rookie. Yeah.
What's the plan?
We build a shoe line
Genesis
around
kicks.
just him. I need the
Design
greatest
pretty
basketball
epic.
shoe that's ever been made.
Who's the player?
Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And then imagine, like, MJ wasn't quite super obvious the best player, one of the best players of all time back then. So this was quite a bit of a gamble.
You have our attention.
I mean, you didn't know he was going to be iconic. Like the silhouette of him dunking on that shoe,
I believe in this.
right? Like, what a choice. I mean, it's an icon, right? Jerry West is the logo for the NBA. But if you think about like what the NBA is, I mean, it's like synonymous with that image of Jordan.
You got a name for it? Air Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seriously?
Maybe it'll grow on me.
All right. Well, thanks for watching that. This is exclusively in cinemas April 5th, so we don't have too long to wait. So that's cool.
Yeah, I
I'm
know
excited.
DreMilly is going to freak out when he sees that silhouette of the Jordan 1 there at the end.
Yeah, he's gonna stand up at there and be like, "Yeah!" Shout out Dream
He'll
Illy.
be trying to get that. Yeah, DreMilly.
we were in the spaces today, and somebody, or maybe it was last night, I don't remember, but somebody had referenced to his name, and they were like DreMilly or Dream Illy, like, it was funny. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, it's funny how it was in Wales, which congrats wale.swoosh for the new gig with the Zuki. But they were each pronouncing each other's names incorrectly, which was hilarious.
Sounds like something you would do, just straight up troll them.
Well, no, they accidentally trolled each other, but it was beautiful. So yeah,
Is that Wale?
Wale, yeah, Wale and
Congratulations,
Dream
Wale.
Illy. But I imagine DreMilly dreams the most illest shit, right? So like it worked out in my head.
Oh, dude, agreed.
So one
He
thing that
also
happened
has-
is, go ahead.
I was just going to say, he also has the smoothest bars when you're just talking to him and he's dropping logic. He's just telling you his life philosophy and wisdom, and DreMilly is also always so smooth. He's got, man, I want to write them down. They're like dreamisms.
Yeah, got bangers, man. Yeah, dreamisms. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Like that dude has legit alpha, like vibe alpha to like really good
Life alpha.
Yeah, like we're just really good advice to really take heed of, right? Like it is his words are not chosen lightly. I'll say that much.
Yeah, another classic clone stand-up dude.
Yeah, much love. Okay, so one thing that happened this week too is, as you noticed, the studio got a bit of an upgrade. We put some screens up so we could watch some stuff and chat about it in real time. We got some other cool effects. You want to walk around and kind of show the fam what's up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, bet.
Hey, I'll tell you, sitting up on this new balcony is kind of dope. I like that we added the couches in. I like the fact it gives these incredible sight lines back into these renders done by Regis. I think they really capture the vibe of the metaheads.
Yeah, man. Regis absolutely murdered these renders. The metahead space, like I wanted to have something that would embody kind of our vibe, and this is like perfect. Like, man, Regis, I hit him up and I was like asking, even after the project, like, what's your background? How, because like if you notice about their style, they tell quite a great story in the process, even with one frame, and it's like always extremely well crafted compositions. So I really appreciated that, and then they shared that they had a like a 10, 15, I don't remember how long, a background in photography, or at least as a hobby. So yeah, it definitely shows in your work, fam. So, keep crushing it. We appreciate it. They are amazing. And especially like in the oversized big posters in the studio, like standing below them, it's to look up. It's quite epic. So yeah, it's the perfect cap to this space.
Absolutely. I think, what you can't see down below, probably from this camera angle, is we even have snacks down there. So when you come visit the studio and you come catch the live show, you get some popcorn, catch some drinks, hot dogs, some wine, some beer, all kinds of good stuff down there.
I mean, you can't have a late night GM snack without snacks,
Yeah.
So one thing
Absolutely
we did,
right about
I put out a tweet today, just asking if anyone, last minute wanted to throw out any questions. We got one from Stevio. They ask, the growing need to verify content for its authenticity, or to verify if you're interacting with a real human. Now, this is something that's been kind of like running through my mind a lot lately too, of like, we've seen this evolution of AI take hold in its earliest forms, right? With ChatGPT and all the art, installations like Midjourney and all these things. So, I mean, it's going to be like literally these things can already pass the bar exam, right? They can already auto reply to emails for you. Like it's crazy. It's going to get crazy real fast too, right? And as much of this interactions we do on a daily basis online, like how are you going to possibly know if you're even talking to a human, or an AI in general? Like what, like blockchain technology might be like our only saving grace that we know of, right? Like how else are you going to verify that?
It's a great question. And I think you and I are definitely part of the community of people that are, let's say, that have been beating the drum for identity standards on the blockchain, right? And it definitely feels like this is truly going to be right at the tip of the spear as we go into the next great wave of innovation spurred on by this AI technology. What I think is interesting is people are still fucking arguing about nonsense shit like floor prices of NFTs when in truth, everything that we know about our interactions online are like, it's like literally quaking beneath our feet like this giant ground shifting earthquake. And for me, all time, I'm feeling pretty fucking cozy right now because you and I have been on this beating the universal profiles drum here for a few years. And a lot of that technology that has been cooked up by the team at LUKSO is centered on solving this exact type of problem, like verifiable on-chain interactions, right? How do you tell whether or not it's a person or a bot, right? And I guess without getting into specifics how that's done, it's just the more interactions that something has, the more I can verify with you that you did it, right? And that it's your account, right? And there's provenance there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, actual like on-chain identity, right? Like that's one thing I always say is that, you know, Bitcoin kind of showed, as much as we use the internet, there was no way to move or store value around, right? There's no way to move value around or to store value in any way, shape, or form, right? Bitcoin showed us like, hey, you can actually store value online, which is insanely like powerful. But now with these new identity standards, we're going to show you that you can actually create, you know, reputation and build identity on chain, right? Because you could do it online, but only in these little pockets of like a closed wall garden like Facebook. You can make your little identity and reputation, which for one, you know, there's a lot of BS on there, right? There's bots, there's all sorts of things. So it's hard to even know who's authentic and who's not, right? But beyond that, it only exists in this little pocket called Facebook, right? So you can't take it anywhere. It only exists there. So if the platform, you know, like dies off, so does all your stuff, right? But also you don't own that stuff. So they can just take it away from you at any moment. They could delete your account. They could lock you out. You could lose your login. It's like, even if you get like, happened to me on Twitter, like my account got flagged for some unknown reason randomly by a bot. And it was like, I lost it for like 9 months. And it's like 9 months of just waiting for it to go through the system, for somebody to finally check it and be like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong here. But it's like, it's crazy. So yeah, especially, I mean, you can see like we're literally here in VR, right? Like there's more, and this is just like the tip of the iceberg. There'll be more and more evolution of people building online identities as we move forward, right? So it's going to be paramount for those things, for us to be able to actually own those things, you know, in something like a universal profile that's like interoperable across everything.
Well, so that is like, it hits on like this thing that, or let's say, oh, whoa, where'd it go?
Hey-oh.
Oh, shit. Gotta sit down. Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm back. There we go.
I thought you were about to take a dive off the edge.
So anyway, so what I was getting at is it hits on this thing that like I've been kind of going after, I think, in my mind, and then you know that I'm not one to hold back if I have an opinion on something either, right? So I've been saying here in a lot of tweets or like hitting up private chats and saying, just because you own an asset doesn't make you a good community member. Just because you spent some money doesn't make you part of the community. And then like nothing is kind of more frustrating to me than like our community hoppers right now, people who just go from community to community and talk about how wonderful they are. I realize that's not everyone, because there are people who do really great things that straddle multiple communities, and they're great people. Jace Bennett, great dude, right? Straddles multiple communities. Yeah. Whale, like wale.swoosh, good for him today, man. Like that's a great pickup for Azuki. Like some of these people are really great people, right? And they're doing great things. But there's so many people that are entering this space, and they like might have a little scratch behind them. So they buy a clone, they buy an Azuki, they buy a mutant, and they're part of all three communities, quote unquote. But like, who are they really? Like, what do they do? What do they stand for? Who are these people? Well, something like a universal profile, that's going to build up an on-chain identity and reputation through their interactions, the things that they do. And it's going to, over time, lend more credence into like, are you a good community member? Because the whole like, I don't know, this is really crude, but the whole dick measuring contest of like, I'm better community member than you, like, let's prove it, right? or right. Or like, this project's better than the other one, this community's better. I don't know. Like earlier today, I was literally saying, let's make a spreadsheet of everything that these projects do, because I'm a guy who lives in this like verifiable land. Like I want to know the logic. Like I want to see it truthfully put out in front of me so I can analyze it, right, in an analytical way.
Yeah, I mean, I hope somebody makes that. I would love to see it broken down because it can be hard to, because it all takes place over a long period of time. It's hard to lose focus. It's hard to lose, like, to know exactly what's what, right? You need to kind of put it on paper to see. But talking about, like, yeah, for instance, like, say you see someone that just picks up a clone, for instance, and you're like, okay, cool, a new community member, I want to support them. But then it's like, oh, or anybody, right? You try to reference kind of their background. You go to their Twitter profile, right? And you say, oh, okay, cool, they've got X amount of followers, they've got X amount of tweets, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, but you can't really even judge that per se. You have to dig deeper because, I mean, it could be a scam account for one, right? They could be scamming you and it's like a social engineering thing, right? Or they could have just purchased all that stuff. You really don't even know, right? So it's like, it's not a great indicator. But from the flip side, like for those of us who are out here grinding every day, building a reputation, like I want that reputation to be protected. I want to be able to prove that I've done all this work. That way it doesn't get mixed up with somebody that just came in and botted it or whatever, right? And same thing imagine you have a project and you want to support the people in your community that are actually there supporting you. Well, you can't really do. It's very difficult to do that now because the tool set to be able to identify who's actually active and a positive contributor, like it's very difficult to even see what's what, right?
Well, how often do you see someone just pop up? Like someone like I realize it's you look at any one project, there's going to be diverse social spaces, social arenas in which people are going to interact. You can have people who are just in Discord, you have people who are in Twitter, you have people who are in Instagram, Telegram, and they might be fractured. They don't cross over much. But sometimes it drives me bonkers when someone's like, I've been around since Mint. What the hell? And they like start giving other people guff and you're like, hey dude, you're talking to people who have been around since Mint, also talking to each other. Like, where have you been? I've never even seen I've never even seen you. Like, where'd you just show up from? I don't know. Sorry.
It's never too late to start getting active.
No, but you're just like catching my own personal bias because I guess this is something I wouldn't intend to bring up, but like just the ongoing FUD around us clones. Like, why are we fudding ourselves? Drives me bonkers. There's no other project out there that has this. Look at what we're doing. We're chilling.
But I mean,
we're straight up chilling.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a nation space, you know, and I think it's current. Actually, no, let's continue this conversation, but let's head to another part of the set to show off a little bit more before we talk about it.
Okay.
Cool. Let's head to the bar, shall we?
Sounds good.
All right, fam. So here we are at the bar in the back of our studio. It's definitely a vibe back here. It's nice and quiet. Let's start off with a question from Major Blazer. It said, thread doors are so handsome right now, but they're curious with the new 4,000 character tweet. How do you think this affects the way that we consume content on the Twitter app, the Bird app, as they call it, Twitter? Any predictions on how the best ones will best utilize this new feature? Personally, Major Blazer hates it. you have any thoughts on it?
I like how you call them thread doors. I like how you call them thread doors. Oh God, thread doors. I got a lot of thoughts on this. I don't know whether you want to hear them.
I mean, that's the whole point. Yeah.
You did ask me.
They did ask.
You did ask me.
Yeah.
You know, when did threads become such a thing? Like, did I fall down a rabbit hole where everybody's a thread maker and like I didn't want to actually go down that rabbit hole? Like, was I walking one day and I fucking tripped and fell and landed in the land of thread making? Was that a thing? Also, you've been in Twitter you've been in Twitter a long time, right? Just like me. Do you remember this many threads?
Yeah, there's always been a lot of threads. Yeah.
Oh, you son of a! You're supposed to agree with me.
I mean,
You're
yeah,
not supposed to say.
No, I mean, I think it's different. What's different now is that, I mean, people are seeing the value in them more than they did before, right? I mean, I will say this. I mean, nowadays, like in a bear market, right? Like anything that garners some attention and some momentum is going to be recognized pretty quickly. because there's just not that many people that are able to do it, right? You know, whether it's just luck or hard work or some sort of strategy or whatever, like it's going to be noticed for sure. I mean, you hope anyways, but
I just feel like for every good thread,
there's like 10 bad ones.
Yeah, no, most threads are trash. That's why I appreciate someone like that like they put in the time and the effort to really do it right and do it justice. You know, they not just banging out threads just to bang them out. You know, I'm usually pretty bad. Like,
shout out Will.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm a mediocre thread maker. Like, I have some good ideas for threads. I used to put way more time and energy into them, but like I usually just get so excited I want to post it within a minute. So I'll just ramble in my head a tweet. I mean, I've already done the research. Like, I'll have already done the research, right? And I've already been thinking about it for a long time. Then I'll be like, I feel like making a thread, and I'll just be tweet, right? And then I'm like, of course I could have shaped it up better, but like I think the actual threads that, you know, they ended up getting picked up and spread a lot are ones that have, you know, a lot of thought, but then also they have like a lot of good supporting material and references, and it's structured well. You know, people really appreciate that stuff because there's a lot of stuff to learn. So it's nice to have, you know, some, it's a great way to learn about some new projects or, you know, new strategies or whatever, you know, in this space, because it's very, very saturated.
Yeah. So Major Blazer, to answer your question, I fucking hate threads, except when they're excellent. And then I love them. Right? So if you're asking me, do I think 4,000 characters is going to affect threads? The answer is yes, because you're going to get assholes like me that could never, ever put together a good thread because, like alts, the second I have a good idea, I want to hit send. I can't wait. I don't structure it well. You're just going to get 4,000 characters of my brain dump. Like, that's what you're going to get.
You're going to have to like stifle through it yourself, see if there's any redeemable alpha in there.
Oh, it'll be 4,000 characters of a rant.
But I mean, that's our style. We're very off the cuff, which is what like LNGM's all about. If you don't know, like we like to just riff. So yeah, I mean, but I appreciate those that put in the effort on the front end to really clean stuff up before they share it. So one thing I noticed too on tweets now, it's like you can add more characters to your initial tweet, but then only I don't even know, what is it, 200 characters now, 250? Like only that shows up on a timeline. So it's kind of weird too, right? I'm like, I don't even know. I'm scared to even do it. I just make threads because I'm like, is this even going to work? I don't know. What is this? What is this, some sort of Twitter blue voodoo? I don't even know. Elon.
Dude,
we lost, man.
I escaped Twitter blue voodoo
by canceling my subscription. Then I finally got out of jail and was able to swap out my PFP. I think, honestly, when it comes to threads, I just think I get so turned off by the people who just write threads to get engagement, right? I'm going to write a thread about something random to just get the widest addressable audience so I can get engagement on my account. That turns me off. If it's someone who's like, I'm a researcher in DeFi, here's a thread about this token standard, or like, and Whale's pretty good about like, here's a breakdown on Blur and Blur Swap, you know, so you guys can check it out. Here's how it impacts the market. This is my thoughts. Like, those are valuable. But just like, hey, do you want to be an NFT, bro? Then this is where you start. Like, that shit drives me bonkers. And, you know, like, I've got a white beard. I'm just the grumpy old man. And put me in the movie, Grumpy Old Men. That's what I am.
You're the grumpiest old man. It's like the trilogy.
The grumpiest.
Finishing out the trilogy.
I don't think any other person goes
and looks at clones that have white beards, because there's like 19 in the collection. I look at them all the time. I'm like, if I could buy them all, I'd buy them all.
If I could own every beard in the collection, I would be... you'd be a degen. That's what
I'd fucking monopolize them.
And then someday, somebody's going to want one, and they're going to have to come through Ethelorian.
That's right. I look at Icon's beard, and I think about dyeing it white. I'm like, Icon, you better not catch me in person. Yeah.
If you took Icon and you whitified his beard, well, he's going to be a little bit more sagacious. I'm going to be like, whoa, this guy really knows his... I thought he knew his shit before, but like, he must have been doing this for 100 years.
That's right. It's what you get from the white beard.
I mean, I honestly thought about making a bowler cut army. You know, I really did. But then I figured,
you thought about
what?
getting.
I thought about getting a second one. But you know, I would just start, right? Maybe I would keep working, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's tough. It would be cool
I'd like
to have some other.
every bowler hat in the collection.
Well, let me ask you this. So if I were to make like an alternate ego alts out of my main, I would say I have 3 main elements, which I tweeted about yesterday. It was my birthmark on my eye, the bowler hat cut, and my deity arms. But like if I took one of those and put it on another clone, like which one would be most my vibe out of those 3? Like which one could be my alternate ego if I could only pick one?
It's the bowl cut. The bowl cut is instantly recognizable.
Yeah, I think so. What if it was
Yeah,
2
often
elements? Would it be this combo with my eye or the bowler cut and the deity arms?
I think it'd be the bowler cut deity arms.
Well, I think it might be. It might depend on when we became friends, too. Because like the people that know me on my previous avatar, they might see that that combo because I've had this even before I was a clone. Which is crazy that I invented it. But I don't know. It's fun to think about. Like because this will be an interesting question too.
Kismet.
As if we end up getting, which nobody really knows what it's going to be, but if we end up getting some sort of marketplace. If I don't know about traits, but maybe drip at least might be tradable or interchangeable, right? Like, will that impact the way people see like your vibe, right? Like even for you, like your hat, like man, that's so iconic with the beard and the glasses, right? Like the whole golfer look, and the polo.
As it is, I mean, you're not. If we had a golf simulator in here. Ethalorian is that level of lame. I'll go and hit golf balls on a video screen. And because I like it. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. The pink hat for me is iconic. Why? It goes back to LUKSO, right? Those OG pink hats that we have, right? Shout out Crypto Chic, right? With the pink hat. But
Mike in his store, he was selling them back in.
Yeah, Mike with the OG LUKSO gear. That was like the OG Maison Lux. But honestly, I think for you, I've looked at clones with bowler cuts, right? And I'm like, no, I can't do it. It's not my vibe. It's Alsa's vibe. That's like biting his swag.
Where deity arms, I could do it.
For sure,
right?
Yeah. I mean, I have other friends. Shabazz, Flav. I've got a few friends that are like deity arm fam, and they rock it in their own way. I love it. It's definitely more universal.
Flav's lucky that I'm a moral individual, or I would take his clone from him because that thing is outrageous. Reptile, space puffer, deity arms. Thing's a beaut.
Man, I was eyeing a reptile bowler cut, like in one of the rounds of the FUD when all the NFTs were just dipping. Man, I almost snagged it, and my buy didn't quite get. I was a little bit short, but that would have been sick to have like an alternate ego that was a reptile. I'm not gonna lie.
There's a clone right now. I look at it daily. I refuse to spend any more liquidity on clones when I have like this outsized bet on the LUKSO ecosystem. It's like I just can't. Not until mainnet, right? But
right.
There's a crown at like 7.8, 7.5-ish ETH, like a crown. I look at that thing and I go, who is selling a crown? And why have I not bought it yet? The thing is epic.
Okay, let me ask you this.
And then there was another one,
Well, let me ask you really fast. Let's pipe dream for a minute. Let's say, I don't know, we get the update 3 of 3 for LUKSO mainnet, which if you don't know, they announced 3 updates coming for the the mainnet launch of LUKSO. We've had 2 of them. We're just kind of waiting on the 3rd. I think most are speculating it's just going to get dropped one day because the first one they didn't announce the date for. They just dropped it. The second one they did announce a date for in the first one. But the third one, I'm guessing, because it might be mainnet, specific with a lot of the information, they'd probably be better off just dropping it. So let's just say it does drop. We get a nice run. I don't know, LUKSO, $50. Let's pipe dream a bit. That's a 5x or so from here. That's about the same as our previous all-time high. I don't know, a year ago, was it a year and a half ago? Whenever the hell we went to like $42. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Let's say we get a nice run to $50. What kind of cologne grails are you going after, my friend? What are you gonna buy?
I honestly don't think I would buy any grails. I think that in that scenario, which is highly likely for this clone community, I would go out and I would decimate the floor. I would pick up and that would almost be spitefully done to catch anyone who's trying to undercut the floor. I would just buy them all. I would buy 100 ETH worth of just floor clones and just laugh at people. I mean, because right now, honestly, and the reason I say that is there's incredible value right around the floor where you can get insane clones. Like the floor is so low, 6-7 ETH, which I get is 50% above floor. I don't give a shit. 6 ETH is a drop in the bucket for the clones that are available. There are some beauts in that ballpark. Beauts.
I mean, it's
like
I won't even look
from
anymore.
the porch.
I don't even look right now. Not because I'm scared of the floor price. I don't care, but like, I don't want to be tempted, man. Like, because there's such good value. But as soon as LUKSO starts going on a run, and at some point I'll roll some into clones, then I'm gonna be eyeing some shit, man, for sure. So that's actually, if you're a clone, just root for LUKSO to pump, and we'll move the floor like 2 ETH ourselves. Win-win,
that's
fam.
what everyone should be rooting for.
Boom. I mean, because honestly, at this point, I see the long-term value in clones. So I'll only sell clones if I need money for one thing or another. Otherwise, I'm holding clones. Why? Look at this picture behind us. Look at that. That thing is iconic, right? That is an iconic photo. I don't see any other project out there that's providing that kind of iconic presence. And like for anyone who's saying anything, insert bullshit take here. Like I value everyone's opinion because we all have them. We all have assholes and they stink. However, come on, like look at that. Right now, I've got a lot of clones that I could do crazy shit like that with, or this, right? Or make AR filters with, and that's barely scratching the surface. Barely scratching the surface.
I mean, look at that guy. He's wearing Takashi Murakami shirt and VVS Panda chain. Like the physical world, they had 2 of those chains that went for like $500,000 each. And so it's like, we got a legendary artist tied to our art. You know what I mean? Like that in itself is just unparalleled in this space to that level of artist, right? Like at an NFT project. But then having the backing by Nike, I know like my vision for it is long-term as well. It always has been. I think the team is just really, they're so forward thinking that the space isn't quite there yet. They're kind of already building where we're headed. So it's hard to see. I mean, I get that there's obviously some road bumps for that, but it's like, I think we're going to see, whenever we see like actual, like the other big brands coming into the space, they're going to do it a lot more like Artifact's doing it, right? It's probably going to be tight-lipped, long-term vision, not necessarily just hyping for the floor price to move, right? Like, it might suck a bit more in the short term, but like, man, long-term, I feel like that's still the play. I mean, I don't know. I'm biased because I love the art. I love the community. I love the team. Literally, it's like, I love so much about this ecosystem, man, and kind of where it's headed. And the storytelling side of things, it really excites me.
Hey, you had a great thread. After I was like, I fucking hate threads. No, but like you did. You had you had a pretty good one today. It was a good take on the comparison between playing poker to win at the big table versus, right, just playing poker to win a hand. And how that parallels with, being in a project like Artifact right now.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily just Artifact. Like, it could just be any project, but it's like the 2 different types of strategies, right? Like, are you here for short term or long term, that's kind of what you need to decide, because it might, I mean, it's going to dictate your strategy, but then also like you'll have a little more peace of mind. You know what I mean? If you're here for the long term and you believe in the vision, well, then that's your bet, man. Like you don't have to worry about what it looks like today. You're not judging it today. You know what I'm saying? It's like a chart. If you look at the 1 minute chart, you'll be like, ah, it's great chaos, you know? But if you're like, if you have a multi-year plan, like why are you looking at a 1 minute chart, right? So like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Imagine you owned a house, right? Okay, you bought a house. Your plan is like, I'll live in it for 20 years and then I'll sell it. You know, say you bought it for $300,000, you're going to sell it for $500, whatever. That's your strategy, your plan. You're not going to get it evaluated every day. You know what I mean? It's different because they're illiquid assets, but yet we harp on the floor so much, right? So I just want to give people like a good analogy to maybe change the perspective on it. You know, like if you are, you know, if you're here short-term trading, whatever, man, like that's one thing, right? But if you know your play is long-term, don't let the short-term people affect your mentality. That's all I'm trying to get at, right? I'm not saying just ignore it and be a hopium moron. Like, no, like you still need to pay attention and understand what's happening to the landscape, but you know, you don't lose your cool, right? Like, because when you lose your cool, you get emotional and then you end up losing your seat at the table, which is the whole point. You don't want to lose your seat at the table if your vision is long term, right?
Right.
Speaking seat
at the point you say lose your seat at the table.
I mean, that's that. Yeah, it's like when you just watch from the rails. That's not fun.
People lose their seat. No, it sucks.
I mean, that's why I tell everybody with LUKSO, like, at least keep some sort of stack. If you want to trade, cool, that's your thing. But like, I would always keep some on the sideline that you don't touch, because that way you can stake it, earn some, you know, rewards. But then like, if it does just launch, not even just LUKSO, but any gem, if you're just gambling to try to gain more, like it's a dangerous game, right? Last thing you want to do is just be stuck on the sidelines when it moons and you just got to watch everybody just celebrate for 20 years. Like, oh my God. I don't think people calculate that into their equations. I do. Man, what if I'm wrong and everybody laughs at me and I just have to watch it just go, forever.
Pain.
Like, oh my God, the pain I would feel of that would be brutal, man. So yeah, if it's something I really want, I don't mess around too much, man.
The pain.
But yeah, speaking of seat at the table, let's head on over to our new podcast setup and check it out. All right, here's our brand new podcast desk setup. As you'll note, we have some empty chairs because we will be bringing on guests. So yeah, I'm really excited to get some guests in there. That is another reminder. If you don't have a VR headset, at least look into it. You know, at least give me that. You know what I mean? Check it out. The barrier of entry is as low as like what, $400, you know, for a headset.
Yes,
the
hardware headset.
Yeah, a VR headset. The software is free, so yeah, it's not super complicated at this early juncture.
Yes, you could be sitting here, or you could be sitting there. You could be sitting here and there in the same show. You could sit anywhere, but if you don't have a headset, you can't sit anywhere. It's truly the issue. This is gorgeous. I like how this place has been resized a little bit. Feels a little bit more comfy, cozy, a little closer to the crowd. You know, feels almost like if I sneeze, I could get one.
And you guys can't see it, but the audience, there's a bunch of seating right over there. There's about 40 seats right now.
Right over there.
Yeah, so we'll also be bringing in audience at some point to just hang out during the show, during the after party, for special events, you know, whatever. We have a dance floor upstairs too. We didn't show you guys yet, but there is the dance floor up there. It's just above the bar, so it's going to get turned up in the multiverse sometimes.
Yeah. If you want to be a part of it, again, the barrier to entry is a headset.
That's it. A headset. Literally a headset.
I left a long pregnant pause there because there's really no other barrier.
So, I mean, you're making excuses if you can't get in here. Truthfully.
You are definitely the king of pregnant pauses.
I
I've never
like
seen
I like
anybody,
pause with the belly. Big fan.
Big fan. I like the updated logo in here. We got the MetaHead space logo. Again, really taken back by the absolute incredible job that Regis did on those renders. Like, they're just eye-popping in the background there. I know you can't see them if you're watching
We'll
this.
show them to you right now. We'll show them to you right now. When you see them at scale,
Yeah, they're so incredible.
it's incredible. That's a good word for it. Yeah, and shout out, Artifact. Like, this art, these 3D files, like, they're beautiful, man. They're a vibe, and it's always different. I always tell everyone this. You don't quite understand until you do it. But sitting in VR as a clone, sitting across from another clone, talking about whatever, like, it's a vibe, man. It really is.
It is a vibe. It is the most definite vibe. Yeah, I love Chella's clone up there too. The billionaire glasses are a vibe on that thing.
Yeah, dude. And Arliano, the little space puffer jacket, I'm jelly of that.
Yeah.
Like, I would love one of those.
It's funny you talk about these traits that you start to identify with the different identities that people are creating. Like, obviously the bowler cut on alts is iconic. And then there's a birthmark and the deity arms. And like, when we think about these traits, you might be able to think about multiple people that have clones that exhibit these traits. Aureliano's space puffer, like the space puffer is pretty sweet. The space puffer I always think about, believe it or not, and it's not one that I think other people would think of, Fairy's clone, but she has a new clone now, which is a demon with the space puffer. And I don't know why whenever I think of the space puffer, I think of her clone now. And it's interesting. I don't know. I think about that, like looking at just the clones across from us here as we're looking out over there. I can't think of too many clones that have the pink polo. I think, honestly, there's not many that have the pink polo.
Well, let me ask you this. Just from Foray speaking, do you think if she transitioned, I think she's actually rocking the demon now, right? Like, did you have any issue, like, adjusting to her changing PFPs?
It's funny because she's a demon. So, like, I totally, I totally just, like, accepted that change when she made it. I think about that, though, because there's so many cool clones out there. I'm like, could the Ethelorian ever be a different clone? And at this point, I don't know that I could make that change seamlessly. I have other clones. Yeah. I don't know that I could rock a different one and like have it stick. I think we all
Let me ask you this. Well,
Yeah,
what would you rock? If you were going to rock a different one, what would you rock? Even out of your own collection or something else?
Great question, because like even out of my own collection, I have some.
You've got some dope clones in your collection.
I do. I have some really sick clones in my collection, but every time I look at them, I think, it's just not me. It's not my vibe. Like this, it's funny. Like the Ethelorian, that clone as it is right now, pink hat, pink polo, white beard, that popped on. Like the mint was happening and everybody was kind of putting clones on secondary, and that thing popped up and I was like, scooped. Look at that thing. Pink for LUKSO. Pink is a lifestyle. Like, I'm all about it. If you look at the render that's up there that Regis did, it's got like pink font prominently featured throughout as a color. Like, what else is going to give that vibe? I mean, I've got a pretty dope reptile with Medusa hair and vision glasses. Like, I love that thing, but I couldn't, I don't think it's me. I don't think I could rock that thing, for long periods of time. How about you? I mean, could you really rock any of your other people? Your other clones?
Well, for me, it's tough, man. Because I minted some really sick clones too. Like Thalos, my demon's back. That's the most rare back trait by far. Those demons, the devils, they're amazing. They're so cool. Plus, you know, his Murakami mouth and the shirt, like, yeah. But I don't think that would have been my vibe, right? Goldie, the Goldstone, dude's like one of the cleanest in the entire collection. He's just like a black tech jacket, black haircut, and he gold skin, like super dope, right? But same thing, like, I don't know, that'd be quite me. I'm sure it's one of those things where if I had picked one of those, you know, people would have just eventually, you know, seen me as that, you know. But kind of once you go down that path and people really start to identify you as that thing, it can be very difficult. Because I used to change mine every once in a while just for fun to rock off some of the other beautiful art that I have. And people were like, I got hate mail. Like, bro, what are you doing, man? Do not change that PFP. You know, but luckily, which I, you know, whatever, this is me. I'm not, you know, I might rock one short term, but this is definitely me. I can't really, it's too late to change that. I've forged myself, you know. So, but the beautiful thing about these arts, they're so versatile, right? You can make, I mean, we've seen 2D, we've seen anime, we've seen claymation, we've seen even just in 3D. You could change up the style so much just based off of the way you do a render, you know. So there's so many different ways to make these assets look and feel different. You know, it can be whatever mood you embody. Plus, we're talking about the drip, right? We're going to be able to update drip and wear different stuff. So it's like, you know, and I remember like even that one app was, I'm blanking on the name, where you'd actually have the ability to kind of change the form of the body and stuff like that too, right? So yeah, they're going to be a little bit more customizable, you know, in the future as well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel good being alts, and I'm happy with these traits for sure. Well, Eth, we try to keep these things digestible like we do our Twitter spaces, you know. So, you know, with that in mind, let's just go ahead and let's call it a night until the next one. It's been a pleasure as always, fam. Thanks for the guys who submitted questions, and yeah, any parting thoughts for the fam? Notice that pregnant pause. Notice that pregnant pause.
Don't lose your seat at the table. Don't lose your seat at the table.
Just because you're bored doesn't mean you need to make a move. You're going to regret it. You know, we're biased. The projects that Alts and I are in, we like them. If you're watching this and you're enjoying it with us, it's probably because you are connected to those projects. Don't let boredom and the emotions that come with boredom run your decision making, because these projects have so far to go and there's so much interesting stuff coming. Don't lose your seat at the table.
Well said, buddy. Well said. Well, everyone, enjoy your late night or your early morning GM. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.